Hey, this your boy Frank Gore. I'm listening to 49er Rush. Niners all day. Let's bring 6 home, baby. Let's go.
I love it, man.
It's time for the 49ers Rush podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is absolutely incredible to be with you guys. And I know it's bright and early. It is bright. The sun is up we're in a cloud where I'm at, but that's okay. Excited to be with you guys today. Sorry if this is a little too early. You can catch it later if it is. I apologize. But I had to get this episode out this morning. I had no option. The Texas-Michigan game kicks off here in a little over an hour, and I can't miss it. I just can't. So apologies, but for those of you that have been here with the 49ers Rush for a minute, which, I mean, goodness, we've been doing this show going for a little while. This is episode 1205, which is crazy. But this was the show that kind of started everything. It was the draft, and it was like whenever I was coaching. Whenever I first started, I was a scouting reports coach, right? So like I would go scout the previous 2 weeks opponents, and I had the custom sheet that my first coach gave me, and I adapted it as it went on, and it was like, all right, this is what we're looking for. These are their plays. These are the best players. These are their vulnerabilities. These are the matchups we don't like, we do like, just all that stuff. And so after doing that for years and years and years, and then, getting other coaches to do it and all that stuff, I was like, man, what if we just do this show for the 49ers where it's like, hey, man, let's dive in and kind of answer a lot of these questions, but from an NFL perspective. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going over a lot of history of the coaches for the Jets. We're going to go over the scheme, exactly how their personnel groups are, players to watch out for, players to exploit, rankings, all kinds of different stuff. And week one's always hard. It's definitely one of the worst because you're operating off of old data. You don't want to go off of preseason because the Jets didn't even play their starters in the preseason. Rodgers didn't play. So it's you understand that you are operating from a deficit to start. And we'll even hear Nick Sorensen kind of explain some of that with Aaron Rodgers and how he's handling this Jets offense, because you're going off of very, very little empirical data and film. You just don't have it. Now, the good news is you got the scheme and you got offense, defense, and all that stuff. Very, very similar. It's kind of like it's like a great value 49er scheme, offense, defense. It's kind of what it is. Now, defense, you could say, well, Salah, definitely on point with him and Jeff Albrecht, their defensive coordinator. Offensive wise, with Nathaniel Hackett, yeah, it's an expired great value 49ers offense. But whenever you have Aaron Rodgers there, definitely looks different. I want to say thanks to everybody that's tuned in bright and early. Woo, man, you guys are the best. What's up, RTP? First in the chat, my man. Top of the morning, Monday Night Football. We're close. We are Diamador Lenore days away from 49ers kickoff. How cool is that? 2 days, guys. 2 days. Look at Leonardo. He says, nothing like working at a lab and listening to my Niners. That's what's up, man. Get that work done. What's up, Ed? Bobo, Mosquito Killer. Oh, everybody showed up. What's up, Josh? Andy. I love it. Even Acosta in the house. This is awesome. My people getting the stuff done. We got people working Saturday morning. Appreciate what y'all do. Let's go. Yeah, it's an early show. I apologize. I tried to give everybody as much warning as possible. And Paul's like, it's not early. He's over in England. I don't know what time it is over there, but I don't think it's too early. We got Toby from England as well. Appreciate you guys. Y'all are the absolute best. Yatsik, my man. It's so close, guys. We are so close. I can't wait. Monday's going to be an absolute blast. Cannot wait. Appreciate you, Stoic. You're the man always. All right. Oh, Michael Pickle in the house. It's football season. That's what I'm talking about. He's back, baby. He is back. Oh, David Waller. We've got some Cowboys hate. Appreciate you. Cowboys opening the season as underdogs. That is that's fresh. That's fresh. We'll see how that goes. Love you, Walner. Hope you're all right, brother. And enjoy the hope while it lasts. It's about to crash, but that's okay. That's okay. Look at that. David says, it's almost 4 p.m. in Scotland. That is, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Look at Mosquito Killer. I love it. Never been so excited for a Monday. Yeah, somebody's got a case of the Mondays. Anyway, that's what it is. All right, let's jump into this. Narratives galore. Good Lord. You're talking week 1. That's huge. First Monday night NFL opener, right? Like for the entire NFL. This is the primetime game. All eyes on us, baby. Salah versus Shanahan, the coach versus, the disciple. What that looks like, Aaron Rodgers, he's got the narratives. He's the narrative man in and of himself. The craziness off the field, all that stuff, but being from the Bay Area, always wanted to play for the 49ers, never happened. But also a lot of players that did play for the 49ers did make it happen. Kinlaw, Isaiah Oliver, Solomon Thomas, DJ Reed, McCrary Ball. Talk about their defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, played his entire career. He's a decade-long 49er guy. We drafted him in the 3rd round. He's their DC. Then you add just the individual. The Jets have the longest playoff drought in the NFL with 13 consecutive seasons without making it to the playoffs. Jets fans' hopes level 10, just like they were last year. Last year, it lasted 4 snaps. I don't want injuries or any of that kind of stuff. That's not what we're looking for. We're just looking to go out and execute and beat this team, which we are better than. Let's just be honest. The Jets are a good team. They do have Super Bowl hopes, and they should. I'd put them in the top 10 to 12 of the NFL. Their defense is going to carry them. But when Aaron Rodgers, if he stays healthy, they've got enough weapons on offense, I think, to make something happen. Now, if we look at what they did last year, again, Aaron Rodgers lasted 4 snaps. That was it. And it never really got off the ground. Jets metaphor. Now, last year they finished 7-10. It was really, really bad. They averaged 14.7 points a game. That was 29th out of 32 teams. Not good. Defense allowed 12th amount of points, 20.1, which is pretty good considering their offense was so putrid. Like, that defense was on the field all the time. And they just, you could be a good defense, but when your offense contributes nothing, eventually just the dams break. It's just what it is. On the road last year for the Jets, 2-5-1. Not a great team, which is weird. Whenever you look at these quality defense, which they do have, their 3 wins versus playoff teams. They beat the Bills. They beat the Eagles, who didn't. They beat the Texans. Solid teams. They won 3 of their last 5, and that was all without Rodgers. They were kind of figuring out how just not to beat themselves, if I want to be honest. Now, 49ers, 12-5, we know. 3rd in points scored. Averaged just under 29 points a game. 3rd in points allowed just over 17 points a game. They were great. Now, from just a unit statistical analytics rating, Pro Football Focus, the Jets offense out of 32 teams, 21st. I'm sorry. I always do this out of order. Overall, the Jets were 21st. So their entire team combined, 21st out of 32. Not good. Offense, dead last, 32nd. Defense, best, first. Number 1, baby. From a Pro Football Focus, their defense was number 1. It's kind of weird to have the best defense and the worst offense. Special teams, this is my biggest concern. 6th. They had a top 6 special teams group. We suck at special teams. It is the thing that just constantly shows up and gets us every single time. What's up, Jax? She says, I'm heading out to Santa Clara. That's what's up, man. Woo. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, that's awesome. Now, let's look at the 49ers from a PFF statistical kind of whatever. Overall first, offense first, defense second. The only team better than us was the Jets, but we get to play week 1. Special teams 25th. That's what it is. I mean, amazing offense, amazing defense, terrible, terrible, terrible special teams. I think it cost us the Super Bowl. Lots of reasons for sure. But yeah, it's just, I have no clue how this guy still has a job here. I didn't want him to get fired, but I'm just like, every single time we go out there, I'm just like, how are we allowing this to happen and doing nothing? It's never going to understand that, but that's okay. He's a good dude, just not a good coach, and he's on our team, and so we support him, and I hope he does great. Now, the Jets, Robert Salah. Let's talk about Bob Salah, baby. by far loved and cherished in the 49ers circles. Amazing guy, amazing human, had his flaws. Took him a while to kind of figure out the whole DC play call and everything, which he's not calling plays for the Jets. He is just the CEO head coach, and the defense is doing its job, so he didn't have to do that. Started off as a defensive assistant. This dude worked from the ground up for Michigan State back in 2002. He was there for a couple years as an assistant. Then he went to Central Michigan, and that's kind of where his career took off. That was under Coach Brian Kelly, one of the least favorite human beings in college sports. He was there with LaFleur. Him and LaFleur became best friends as defensive assistants there. And the funny story, if you haven't seen the story, go look it up. Just type in Robert Salah and Central Michigan. Like, Brian Kelly treats everybody terrible, from students to players to assistant coaches to whatever. I mean, he's just a dirtbag. And so he always treated them like just, forcing coffee runs and just yelling at them and all that stuff. Well, he tells LaFleur and Salah, hey, we've got a party this Saturday. Show up with your kind of best clothes that you got. And so they're thinking oh, look at this. End of the year, he's going to take care of us. So Salah and LaFleur show up dressed to the nine, nicest clothes they got. Don't even get to talk to Brian Kelly. Somebody's there good, glad you guys are here. You're parking cars all night. And so forced them to park cars for 10 plus hours. They didn't even get to eat food. And that's just kind of who Brian Kelly is. He's a terrible human. Just takes advantage of people. But Robert Saleh said, him and LaFleur were sitting there we will never, ever treat people the way this guy has treated us. And probably my favorite thing about Robert Saleh is the perspective that he brings just on life and how he treats other people. And for that reason alone, I will always be a Robert Saleh fan. I love that dude. I hope he finds his way back to the Bay. I don't see if he doesn't win a playoff game, making it to the playoffs, he's still fired. He's got to win at least one playoff game with this roster, or he is fired. Probably one of the hottest coaching seats in the NFL. And if that does happen, I hope we find a way to get him back. I doubt we will, but anyway, take that for what it is. Then after that, he goes to Georgia, worked under Kirby Smart, worked under Mark Wright. Then in 2005, jumped to the NFL with the Houston Texans under Vic Fangio. So again, these parallels are monumental. Second year with the Texans in 2006. Oh, guess what? They hire Kyle Shanahan. They hire Mac McDaniel. Gary Kubiak's now the head coach. And their first round pick is none other than DeMeco Ryans, who he gets to coach as a defensive quality control coach. Then the rest of his career, he jumps to Seattle, then the Jaguars, joined the Niners, 4 years as a DC with us. Then he's been the Jets head coach now for 4 years. This is the fourth year going into it. Now, their offensive coordinator, I'm going to come out on a limb and say this, the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL, Nathaniel Hackett. I just don't understand how this guy, I do understand. I'm how does this guy keep getting jobs? Him and Lincoln Riley, good Lord, just fall upwards at every single moment of their career. It happens. We all know people like that. That's Nathaniel Hackett. He's not good. Oh, what's up? We got the Godfather in the house. What's up, Nick? So what's up, Chapman? And West Coast time, my brother. I know you got in late last night. Can't wait to hang out soon. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Nathaniel Hackett started off UC Davis, baby, right up the road. I drove through it yesterday on my way to my son's football game. Assistant linebackers coach. Then he went to Stanford for 3 years. Offensive assistant, coordinator's assistant, recruiting coordinator. Then he joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2006. Now, here's what's funny. Kyle Shanahan was the offensive QC guy for the Bucs before Hackett. When Shanahan left, Hackett took his spot in 2006. Then he jumped to the Bills for a few years. Then he went to Syracuse, college level, for a few years. Then he jumped to the Buffalo Bills as an OC in 2013. Lost that job, went to the Jaguars as a quarterback coach. Got promoted all the way to OC there. Denver Broncos was a head coach. I'm sorry, before the Broncos, he was with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. But here's what's crazy. Nathaniel Hackett, this is the very first year that he has ever called plays with Aaron Rodgers. That's something that's brand new this year. We'll see how that goes. Obviously was the 1 year head coach for the Denver Broncos, probably one of the worst head coaching performances, and completely orchestrated the Russell Wilson trade, the Russell Wilson restructure, and just tanked that organization in 1 year. Then he landed with the Jets just because of Aaron Rodgers, and we'll see what happens. Like, the Jets tried to replace him this year, or at least to demote him. They went after, he was the Tennessee OC, then he was the Falcons guy. Now he's for the Pittsburgh's OC. Yeah, his name's right there, the FedEx dude, Arthur Smith. Thank you. Right there. They tried to replace him, but he chose to go to Pittsburgh. How crazy is it that he chose to go to Pittsburgh with no quarterback at the time over working with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets? I think that kind of tells you exactly what's going on. What's up, Big Papa? Says, just found out I get to go to the game Monday. Oh, we'll be talking, brother. We'll figure something out. Defensive coordinator. We know and love this man, Jeff Ulbrich. 3rd rounder, picked by the 49ers out of Hawaii. Played for the 49ers for 10 years. After his career was over, joined the Seahawks. He was on staff with Robert Salah in 2011 and, jumped down to UCLA for a few years, was with the Falcons for like 6 years, including assistant head coach. And then now he's been the defensive coordinator for the Jets for, the entire time, which is awesome. So now, before we jump into injuries on both sides, real quick, man, you go into any games this year, week 2. Oh, I can't wait to get together in Minnesota. All right, 49ersRushRoadTrip.com is live. Tickets are available for all of our road trips this year. Just go to 49ersRushRoadTrip.com, click here for tickets. Brings you to our landing page here, and you can see all the events that we're doing. And so once you pick an event, you just click on 49ers Bucks, scroll down, you can see our pre-party, you can see our tailgate, you pick what you want to do there, and right now the prices are as low as they're ever going to be. They only go up. So we got early bird pricing till we sell a certain number of tickets. You can check out there. You get a QR code ticketing site, which we built ourselves, which I'm so excited about. 49ersRushRoadTrip.com. Go party with the faithful. All right, so if you're coming out, man, week 2, I'm so excited. We're going to be Crave Rooftop downtown on 825 Hennepin, 2 to 6 p.m. the day before. Got to get tickets. We're going to sell out on this one, so check that out. And then we got limited spots available. Not too many left on the tailgate, which, man, we're in the purple lot right across the street from the stadium. Prime location, unlimited drinks, premium food, premium liquor. Going to be an absolute blast. If you were with us last year, gosh, it was awesome. So make sure you check that out. 49ersRushRoadTrip.com. Got to be a blast. Now, let's talk about, I got to highlight this comment. Bobo, the best ever player from the University of Hawaii, is our very own and great Jesse Sapolo. I will never not, that's a double negative, highlight a Jesse Sapolo comment. I remember one day, the 49ers stay at the Santa Clara Marriott for the home games. And so me and Wayne were staying there, and this was whenever I was living down in Pasadena and flying back and forth for a lot of the home games and events that we were doing. And so I'm waiting on Wayne, just eating breakfast in the lobby. And sure enough, Jesse Sapolo and his wife just come sit down next to me. And it's like, hi, Jesse Sapolo. He's like, hey. And we just sat and talked football for like 20 minutes. And it was just like, some people are just exactly who they are. Just authentic, sweet, amazing human beings that are so passionate about their team that they still show up to all the home games and stay at the same hotel as the team. And like, it's just like, whew, what a cool dude. So yeah, Jesse Sapolo, just about as great a person and exactly how you would picture him to be. You know what I mean? Like, people always say, like, don't meet your heroes. I would plan on going this tangent. And I'm just like, man, screw that. I disagree with that. Because if you meet your hero and they treat people like garbage, you don't want that to be your hero. You move on. And, with hanging out with so many amazing people with, the 49ers Rush Road Trip and all that stuff. You heard Frank Gore kind of introduce the show, which Frank Gore being inducted into the 49ers Hall of Fame this Monday. How cool is that? That dude shows up. He's a blast. Navarro Bowman, Fred Warner, Elijah Mitchell was pretty cool. Like a lot of these guys that we have had the opportunity to hang out with, they're the best of the best. One or two of them are kind of like, all right, yeah, I get it. You don't want to be around these people. You don't really care about the fans. That's one or two guys. I'm not going to say any names, but man, I'd say like 95% of the players that you interact with do it for the right reasons. And there's one or two that just don't care. But man, so Jesse Sapolo, Frank Gore, like Navarro Bowman, Fred Warner, like just Toledo Hufunga, like just the best of the best of the best. Man, awesome. Paul, appreciate it. He says, have to say, JC, you were awesome when we met you last year. Huge highlight of mine, watching the game at Levi's. Yeah, that was the Bucks game, man. Me and my buddy James, Coach Wiz, we still talk about that. We had such a good time. And I think we're hanging out. I'm going to get to meet up with a couple of your UK faithful guys coming over this week. So love it. Now, let's talk injuries. 49ers got a lot more than the Jets do. If we're just looking at limited, Talanoa Hufanga, limited. Christian McCaffrey, limited. Aaron Banks, limited. Isaac Guerrero, limited. Juwan Jennings, limited. That's 5 guys that are still limited in practice as of yesterday. And we had 2 guys out. D. Winters and Yetur Gross-Matos. Yetur Gross-Matos is probably the biggest one out of all those. We have no defensive end depth. Sam Aquano is definitely going to be getting called up. Today, the Saturday, this is the 3rd practice. This will determine. So if D. Winters and Yetur Gross-Matos are not limited, they're not playing this week. I can guarantee you. Now, you look at the Jets. Gosh, they've got everybody. The only guy they don't have is Wes Schweitzer, who's a backup guard. Not even mixed into their rotation. I doubt he plays, but Hassan Reddick still hasn't showed up. And I want to give props to Diane Rossini of The Athletic. She does great work. Just started a new podcast called Scoop City. Obviously, they're not promoting me. One of my new favorite NFL podcasts, her and Chase Daniels, really, really good. But she just put out an article, and she said that, latest on Hassan Reddick's thing. The quote is, quote, mindset that he will die on this sword. He's not playing without a new deal. Now, they'll see. The Jets' whole thing have said, quote, show up, then we'll talk, end quote. He's not doing that. She did say, however, in this article that there is a long shot that he could show up and play, but it is exactly that. It is a long shot. Yeah. And Ed, McCaffrey's fine, guys. I am still waiting on any McCaffrey bets or prop bets. If he has a full practice, I doubt he will. This is the Shanahan way. And maybe he is limited. Maybe he is 100%. I'm not going to bet on that. Shanahan always likes to do this tricky stuff, though. So we'll see what happens. But I'm staying away from all CMC bets. And I don't like the questions. Week 1's always a question mark anyway. The fact that the Jets defense is so good anyway, like it's just enough. Nah, all right, I'm staying away. So I'm staying away from my McCaffrey bets unless he unless he practices today. Full practice. If he doesn't, I'm staying away. And again, all of our bets will be posted later today, early tomorrow. I got a lot more work to do across the NFL. That's going to be over on the 49ersrush.com. That's going to be over on our Patreon channel. Link of the descriptions in the video or in the video podcast. I put out yesterday's show my 3-team teaser for each day, the Thursday, Friday. And so we hit on the Packers. We hit on the Ravens. Now the 49ers just have to win by 5.5. We hit that one. But all of our week 1 bets, besides that one that I just threw out there on the show, those will be available over there. And I'm still working on those. Now the history, these 2 teams have played a lot. Which is weird whenever you look at this. They played 14 times. The 49ers have dominated. 11-3. That's the 49ers have won 3 out of the last 4. The last time the Jets won was 2016. Before Shanahan showed up, we lost 23-17 in overtime. Kaepernick versus Bryce Petty, baby. That's what it was. And you look at the Jets roster: Robbie Chosen, Bilal Powell, Matt Forte, Brandon Marshall, Leonard Williams, Darrelle Revis was on that team. Yeah, it's a long time. That was the last time they beat us. Now, again, looking at the history, Aaron Rodgers is awesome. And, I want to play this clip because this is something, Nick Sorensen, the new defensive coordinator, was asked, like, how do you prepare for Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't played in a long time. You ain't got no tape on him. How do you do that?
No, because we haven't seen like tape other than like you might see him throw once on TV or something when someone's at camp. But I would assume he's back to where he is, feeling great. And, his arm is his arm as long as he can move, which I would think that he can. And he's put himself in that position. He's been getting a lot of, reps at practice. I think he's been ready. I mean, he came back so fast at that point last year, I think, from that injury. So I think we're going to see his best.
Now, here's what's crazy. Aaron Rodgers' last 300-yard game, Brock Purdy wasn't even drafted yet. He wasn't even drafted yet. It has been a long time in the NFL since Aaron Rodgers has had a good game. Does that mean that you take him lightly? No. As fans, look, it's been 3 seasons since Rodgers has been an above average quarterback. It's been that long. He's 41 years old, coming off an Achilles. What's that going to look like? We don't know. We really don't know. But for the 49ers, you have to prepare like he's Aaron Rodgers of old. You have to. It's what it is. Now, all right, let's transition. Oh, what's up, Michael Pickle? Look at this. Appreciate the super chat. It says, from Austin, let's go Longhorns. Hell yes. JC, keep killing it. Let's go Faithful. Yeah, this show will end promptly at 9 a.m. I'm not missing that. Longhorns go to whoop up on Michigan. I don't know about whoop up, but they're going to win that game. So excited about that. Thank you, Michael. You're the absolute best. Let's talk about this defense because it is good. The Jets defense is for real. Let's go through their ranks. Okay, this last year's ranks out of 32 teams. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't really affect this too much. All right. 12th in points allowed. 3rd in total yards allowed. Very good. 8th in turnovers. Good. 13 in fumbles recovered. Above average. 2nd overall, 2nd best in the NFL in first downs allowed. Teams could not sustain drives against this Jets team. 4th in passing touchdowns. Can't beat them through the air. They call themselves the no-fly zone. I would argue probably the best corners in the NFL if you're looking at all 3. 8th in interceptions. 25th in rush yards. That was their kind of Achilles heel. Sorry, Aaron. They give up a lot of rush yards. They really, really did. So that's why I'm like, man, if CMC was healthy, I would definitely bet the over, but I'm staying away from it. 11th in rush touchdowns allowed, slightly above average. 11th in rush yards per rush, 4.1, slightly above average. 13th third downs, above average. 5th in 4th downs, very, very good. 7th in red zone. They're just a good team. They've lost a lot of players, though. Let's be very honest. They lost Jordan Whitehead, their starting safety. Safety's their biggest issue on defense now. They lost Bryce Huff, their best pass rusher, and they traded away John Franklin Myers. Their second, I'd probably say their third. He was kind of like their Cleveland Farrell. He was their stout run defensive end. He's gone now. Which, if you lose Bryce Huff and Jonathan Franklin Myers, that's fine because you traded for Hassan Reddick. He ain't shown up. They lost Quentin Jefferson, interior defensive tackle. So you add Hassan Reddick, but he ain't there. Then you add Javon Kinlaw. How cool is that? They add Javon Kinlaw, just an absolute beast. Here is Chris Forster, the 49ers O-line coach, talking about going against Kinlaw, who was just with us.
Challenge. We get challenges every week, and Javon's another great guy, great player. Loved our time with him here. We really respect him and the job that he does. It's going to be a great challenge for whoever has to block the guy. He can be as dominant a defensive lineman as we see, and from what we've heard, he's having a great camp and is ready to go. So obviously, we got a great challenge ahead of us.
There we go. So plus they got Isaiah Oliver. They added him. They added Lakey Fotu, the defensive tackle, but he's on IR, so he's not going to be playing against us. So, I think their additions and subtractions match, but not with Hassan Reddick not playing. And so, yeah, it's still a long shot, according to Diane Rossini. I do not expect him to be playing. And, yeah, he is getting penalized. It's like that $4 million a game. He's not even talking to them. And so the Jets, again, are saying, show up and we can talk. And he's saying, no, give me a new deal and I'll show up. So, it's kind of It's what it is. It's what it is. Now, right here, Alberto says, but what about Jordan Mason? Shouldn't he have a game with CMC not fully healthy? Well, that's the thing. I don't know if he's not fully healthy. Is this a Shanahan ploy? Is Mason going to get carries, or is this going to be a full CMC week? So rush yards are coming from somewhere. And if you feel like you have a grasp on where that is, I think predominantly it's going to be a CMC. But we've seen games where the number 2 gets 0 carries. Is it going to be one of those games, or is Jordan Mason going to get 8 carries? If I knew for sure Jordan Mason's getting 8 carries, I'm betting the over on him 100%. But we don't know that, and I'm not gambling. Week 1 is a high variance week enough as is because we just don't know about these teams. They're all new teams. They're new schemes, new coaches, whatever. So I just try to downplay the variance as much as possible and just don't risk. So that's just my own take. But if you feel like you know what it is, man, you jump out there, baby. Yeah, Ed. So basically the whole defense and coaches are all ex-49ers. It's pretty close, man. The Manhattan 49ers, even though they're not in Manhattan, they're in the swamps. Ugh. MetLife is like the worst place, man. That's probably one of those games I might not ever do a rush road trip there. I don't want to go there. Now, their defense is studs for sure. You got to talk about Sauce Gardner, back-to-back All-Pros to start his career. Definitely a top 3 corner any way you splice it. And he's not by himself. DJ Reed, ex-49er, all right? He's part of that too. Quinnen Williams. Gosh, Quinnen Williams is a beast. And, here, I want to dive into this because I thought this was probably one of my favorite clips. Chris Forster, our line coach, was asked, like, what's the plan against Quinnen Williams? Like, he's that good. You have to plan for this guy.
He's got a low center of gravity. He's gotten bigger. Our guys were laughing the other day. He's listed at 303 pounds. I don't think he's at 303 anymore. That might have been his combine weight, but he is a load, and he plays with a great center of gravity. He plays with great energy. He's got explosion in his body. So he's one of those guys. We listed a bunch of guys the other day as to where he would rank with, and I'm not going to give you the ranking between, the great defensive tackles that we face, and we face a lot of them. And he's just one of those real strong and explosive guys. If you don't get on him quick, if you don't take care of your business, you're not recovering. He's too strong and too powerful a guy, and it makes it hard to recover. So you got to be on your business early to take care of him if you have a chance to take care of him.
There's always, whenever I do these, and I would have my meetings with the coaches or whatever I first started presenting my scouting reports. So you meet with the whole coaching staff and you tell everybody, but as kind of moved up, those changed. And, I would always, like, off to the side, I'd talk to the coach. I was like, look, man, I don't know if you want to hear this. This is the way that they would win, right? And you'd have that conversation. Like, if this guy does this, how did the Jets win this game? Quinnen Williams wrecks our left guard and our center. Like, and we've seen that with this left guard and this center. If that happens, that's how the Jets can win this game. That's who you have to be concerned about. And right next to it, Javon Kinlaw, who's no slouch either, coming off, that playoff run was sick that he had for us. He was awesome. So we'll see. You got to add, too, C.J. Mosley, amazing linebacker. Quincy Williams was a first-team All-Pro. You could argue the 49ers have the best linebacking core in the NFL. You could also argue the Jets are number 2. That's a part of it. Like, they've got studs. Evan, appreciate the super chat, man. He says, hey, JC, which home games are you tailgating? Went to the home game tailgate versus Seattle last year and loved it. Man, thank you so much. Sad news, none at all. The 49ers have X'd that. They do not want us to do that anymore. They're trying to get rid of all that. They're not too big on community. That's not really what they want. So sadly, no home game events as slated. I have worked out a lot of possibilities off the 49ers premises. They all kind of came up and just weren't going to work out too well. So sorry about that, Evan. I hate to say that. And I'm just like, womp, womp. But it sucks. And it bothers me too, because it's so cool because we built this brand to bring people together, especially the out-of-towners, and the Niners just completely against it, sadly. So sorry, man. I don't like conflict, and I don't want to go somewhere I'm not wanted. Nick, appreciate the super chat, man. Hey, John, Jets defense is good, but I'm encouraged to see the defense looks considering Sorensen and his emphasis on taking the ball away more. Yeah, look, we were first in interceptions last year, and then we were tied the year before, or vice versa. I might have got that a little mixed up. It's there. It really, really is. And so that's how you have to kind of counteract that. got to go get those takeaways. And as good as the Jets defense is, our defense I would take over the Jets. I'm just going to be really – their weaknesses, their defensive – like 49ers don't have defensive end depth. Guess what? The Jets don't either, and their number one's not there. Our safeties are inexperienced. So are the Jets. Our safeties are better. So, like, it's rough. Ed, he says, the season ticket holders are fighting it. We'll see. I don't like putting the negativity out there. That's not who I is. It's not who I want to be. But it's frustrating for sure. And, I get all these emails from season ticket holders that have been season ticket holders for 40 plus years. And like, why are the Niners doing this? Like, I have inside information. I'm just like, I have no idea. I don't know why a franchise goal is to piss off the people that have paid them for 40 years. I don't understand it. I'm sorry. And I hope they figure that out, and I hope it gets resolved. And you always take care of your people first. Sadly, that doesn't seem to be the way it's going. But I have no control over that, and I'm sorry, and it sucks. I hate that. Now, with the pros and the cons, the players to exploit, and this is paramount right here. Josh, my man, said earlier, attack their safeties all day. Listen to these safeties. Chuck Clark played 0 snaps last year. Number 36. You see number 36 out there. Shanahan's highlighting that guy. He's been in the league for 7 years, so he's a vet. But it's his first year with the Jets. Never been a quality player. Always been kind of a rotational backup guy. They are expecting him to elevate his play. The other safety, Tony Adams, had a 68 PFF score last year, 41st ranked, safety, 15 missed tackles, 7 touchdowns allowed last year. He was the weak point of the defense last year. We'll see. Will that change? Man, I'm attacking both those safeties. And then the edge depth. Jermaine Johnson is awesome. Will McDonald, former Purdy teammate, Iowa State first-round pick, is pass rush specialist. But, man, you watch him even in the preseason, no run game integrity, kind of like a Randy Gregory type build, Randy Gregory type player. Take advantage of that. He's going to open up some run game perimeter whenever he's out there, Will McDonald. And Michael Clemens is good, much more stout against the run, but doesn't offer a lot of pass rush, whatever else. Like, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. So there's players to exploit on this defense. Now, scheme, and here's where it gets fun. This is my favorite part. I'm talking too much. I'm going to have to anyway. Cover 1, cover 3, cover and quarters. That's their defensive philosophy. We remember when he was here, Robert Salah. The biggest difference is we did a lot more cover 3 and quarters whenever Robert Salah was here. That's not the case, because once he got Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Michael Carter, their corners, he started playing a lot more cover 1 than we did. And if you look at just last year alone, the Jets played 28% cover 1. That's where you have one high safety and you could do some man-type matchups with your corners. That's what I would be. If I was the Jets DC, we're going to be in cover 1 more than almost anything. Why? Because Debo can't play against it cover 1. That's his biggest flaw. We've seen it press man. That's not his thing. He's just not good at it. Cannot get separation against man. Now, Brandon Ayuk can, but Ayuk ain't been there. Ayuk ain't been there. So I would be doing a lot of cover 1 if I was the Jets. That's just my own personal opinion. Now, you look at their percentages again. Quarters, they run 31% of the time. Cover 3, 20% of the time. Do a little bit of cover 6 splashed in there. If you don't know what those mean, that's okay. You're probably in the majority. And if you subscribe to our website, the49ersrush.com, we have a whole video section called Football 101. And it's videos of me showing you what quarters is, what cover 3 is, what man is, what cover 6 is, and why those things are good or bad. And you can kind of see that. I don't want to dive into it here, but I've got episodes on episodes just breaking those down. So if you're listening to this and you're just like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but you want to know, go sign up to 49ersrush.com. You get a 7-day free trial. Click around on a couple videos. Oh, I learned. Then you can cancel free of charge. If you like it and you want to support the show, you can stick with it. We break down every single offensive, defensive, special teams play from the past 3.5 years. As soon as you sign up, you get them all. Every single preseason play, broken down. Every single play this year, broken down. Will be. That's going to be there. We've been doing that. That's never going to change. Right here, Josh. Well worth it. He says 49ersrush.com, elite stuff. I think we have over 550 videos, breakdowns up on there already. Rob, my man. What's up, man? Say hey to the family for you. What's up, kidsy? You guys are the best. Can't wait. Monday, get here, baby. All right. Now, their tendencies on defense, the Jets were the least blitz-heavy team in the NFL last year, right around 15% on league average. But then I went back and looked at their last 3 games versus outside zone Shanahan-esque teams, Browns, Dolphins, Texans, all running variations of Shanahan. Week 17 against the Browns last year, they blitzed 4 times. Week 15 against the Dolphins, they blitzed 3 times. Week 14 against the Texans, they blitzed 6 times. They're not going to be blitzing Purdy like crazy. Yeah, you might mix in some, and some of them would be kind of like run gap stuff, blitzes, but you'll bring 5. So I don't think you're going to be getting a whole lot of that. So it's going to be, we know Robert Salah. No first half adjustments. Jeff Albrecht's the DC. He's much better adjuster. That was my biggest weakness on Salah and still is. Just never adjusted in the first half, refused to do it. He wanted to get back in the locker room, put it on the board, and I've had coaches that do that, and it drove me crazy. Like, come on, man, you got boards on the sideline. Fix it. But anyway, we'll see. Now, let's transition. Let's go over to the Jets offense, and we'll start with our defensive coordinator talking just about how he breaks down the Jets offense.
You want to see what you can find, that kind of crosses over. You got to watch a few different things because the team is different, with Rodgers not getting many snaps last year. So you kind of got to watch a few things. But looking overall, they have good position players. They got good skill players. We know the guys that they brought in. I think it's definitely going to be a different team. They've upgraded. Obviously, having one of the best quarterbacks that's played the game, being in there, it does change them a lot. And they obviously you can see what they've done with their O-line and, making that a priority as well.
That's what's it changes. And so having Rodgers there, we're going to go through their offense last year. It's an asterisk. Like at best, it's completely different at worst. Oh, shout out from my man, Jason. Thank you so much for the super chat. Your generosity is beyond appreciated. Man, I feel weird reading this, but this is awesome. Thank you. I'm very, very awesome. John and his breakdowns taught me so much. Been a Niners fan since the 80s, but I learned so much from John in the past 4 years. Definitely worth every penny if you want to expand your knowledge. Man, Jason, that is so awesome. And I consider Jason a friend. We met on one of these road trips and got to hang out. That's a cool thing. It's like all these names. If you ever come to a Niners game, and obviously I'm not going to be able to like hook up with everybody, but if you ever see me out in the wild, it's John Chapman in the wild. Please say hi. I get a lot of emails like, "Oh, I saw you at the game, but I didn't want to like what." No. Please, if you see me at the game, please come say hi. That's my opportunity to thank you. The fact that I get to do this is bananas, and the only reason why I get to do this is you guys. And I don't say this a lot. Yeah, maybe I do say this a lot. Like the show and the road trips, I put back into the show. I put back into the community. I put back into that. The way I feed my family is Patreon and the 49ersrush.com. That is what pays my bill. Juan Solis and my IG guy and all that stuff. I pay what I can based on what we bring in with the show to help offset the people that help us build this show. But the 49ers Rush, that's how I feed my family. And so the support that you guys show over there, if you want to know the best way to support the show, that's it right there. But if you see me out in the wild, please say something so I can thank you and get to know you. I want to face to this name. I see all these awesome names, and it's like, hey, I'm just saying. Right here, Alberto says, maybe you could help out with my fantasy. Would you go George Kittle or Dalton Kincaid this week? I'm going to say this, Alberto. If you got both those guys, trade one of them. I don't care which one. Those are 2 top 4 tight ends this league. This season, you don't need 2 tight ends that are that good. You are combine Kittle with your number 3 running back and get a number 1 running back. Combine Dalton with your number 3 wide receiver and get a number 2 or 1 wide receiver. That's what I would do personally. This is going to be a Kittle game. And probably a lot of my prop bets you guys will see are going to be, I'm going to bet Kittle pretty heavy this week against those safeties with Ayuk banged up, or with Ayuk not practicing all the time, with Debo going against a little bit more man coverage and cover one, with CMC not being fully back. I'm going to bet Kittle kind of high this week. So, but Dalton Kincaid against the Cardinals, that's a win-win. Yeah, it's a coin flip. You go with your heart. But, man, I'm telling you right now, Alberto, trade one of those dudes. Trade one of those dudes. Come on, man. Maximize that. You don't want to top 5 tight end on your bench. Anyway, good question. Now, let's go through these non-Rodgers ranks from last year for the Jets on their offense. 29th in points. All out of 32 teams, right? Terrible. 31st yards, terrible. 30th in turnovers, terrible. 32nd fumbles lost, terrible. 21st interceptions, terrible. 32nd first down, terrible. 32nd pass touchdown, terrible. 31st pass yards per attempt. 29th in rush attempts, terrible. 22nd rush yards, all right. 30th rush touchdowns, terrible. 14th rush yards per attempt, 4.2. That's above average. 32nd third down, 6th and 4th downs, 32nd red zone. There we go. It's bad. Players lost. Laken Tomlinson now with Seattle. He wasn't good for them. Zach Wilson now with Denver wasn't good with them. Mekhi Becton gone, wasn't good with them. Randall Cobb retired. Connor McGovern, probably their biggest loss. Billy Turner, next biggest loss. Added Mike Williams. He's been limited. He's going to be on a pitch count this week, the wide receiver. Tyron Smith, probably their number one. Can he play? He's always banged up, but he's healthy week 1. Tyrod Taylor, their backup. If Rodgers goes down again, they have a vet there, and Morgan Moses starting right tackle. They paid some O-line, man. Strength, Aaron Rodgers for sure. Yeah. Bryce Hall, Brock's old teammate, beast, 4th highest ranked running back on Pro Football Focus. Garrett Wilson, I think he's their best offensive player personally. I think Garrett Wilson is a top 6, 7 wide receiver in the NFL. I think he's really good. Tyron Smith is great. Borderline Hall of Famer. Borderline. Just so many injuries, but he's healthy. So that's going to be a fun matchup. Now, players to exploit. One of my favorite centers coming out a couple years ago was Joe Tippmann out of the Big Ten. He struggled last year. Gave up 3 sacks, 20 pressures in 14 games. 22nd ranked center. He's just not consistent. They're expected a huge step up. Their left guard, John Simpson. That's who I'm attacking. I want Javon Hargrave to show us why he's getting all that money. We ain't seen it yet. I know 7.5 sacks last year. He had some games. That dude stunk down the playoffs. He was terrible. You're going up against their worst player, John Simpson, their left guard. Dude had 11 penalties last year. Come on. Tight end Tyler Conklin. He's solid. Not great. And then their number 3 wide receiver is Alan Lazard. No, I'm not worried about that. Personnel, how they line up. If I'm the Jets, I'm in big personnel the whole time forcing DFF out there. But that's not the way the Jets play. That's not the way Aaron Rodgers plays. 11 personnel, 1 back, 1 tight end. That's what that means. So whenever you hear like 21, 22, 11, 12, 20, whatever, the first number is running backs. How many running backs are on the field? And the second number is tight ends. So 21 personnel for the 49ers is CMC and Kyle Juszczyk. Those are your 2 backs. And then George Kittle, right? So for the Jets, 11 personnel, they're in 66% of the time. They don't have a quality fullback. They don't have a quality number 2 tight end. They don't do that very often. 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, 17. So whatever you hear 12 personnel, that means DFF's going to be out there. Glaring need. 45's out there. I would run the ball against them every time. If I was the Jets, I'm staying in big formations. I'm running at DFF. That's just what I would do. 21 personnel, 7%. It's a Shanahan LaFleur light. Nathaniel Hackett has never been able to recreate this team, this scheme, this play style. Now, whenever he's had Aaron Rodgers, they had some success, but McCarthy was calling plays. He's never called with him. They stretched the field horizontally. He wants yards after catch situations, quick passing, get the ball out. That's what they want to do. It's timed-based passing, right? So just 1,001 to pow, like right there on that third step, boom, get the ball out. They don't want Aaron Rodgers getting hit. They want snap, throw. That's what they want. Now, let's go through these matchups. Let's look at this 3 separate ways. Okay, maybe my favorite part of this show. Which matchup favors the Jets? Which matchup favors the 49ers? And which matchup is blue chip on blue chip? Blue on blue, best on best. Let's start with the 49ers defense versus Jets offense, okay? Their best matchup, I just said it. Their run game versus DFF. Whenever we're in big personnel, our base package, 4-3, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, we'll do that against 12, 21, and 22 personnel. When you see 45 out there, John Chapman's going to be in that stadium holding his breath. That scares me. It terrifies me, in fact. If not that, Nick Sorensen came out and said Isaac Yiadom, he's going to be our number 3, which I have a lot of confidence in. He's our number 3 corner. So whenever they're in nickel package or 11, and we're in our nickel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, we're going to have Demo in the slot. We're going to have Charvarius Ward out wide. And we're going to have Isaac Yiadom out wide. That's what they've been showing since day 1 in camp. Yiadom versus Garrett Wilson scares me. Now, Garrett Wilson versus anybody scares me, to be honest with you. And we're going to be a nickel 69% of the time. Nice. Those are my 2 concerns. So base, I'm watching DFF. I'm concerned about the run. Nickel, I'm concerned about Yiadom versus the pass. He had a great year last year. And to finally have a number 3 corner that could play, that's awesome. But Yiadom against Garrett Wilson, I don't like. My favorite matchup for us, Javon Hargrave versus John Simpson, their left guard. Hargrave, time to show up, man. Come on. Like, if Hargrave has the same year he had last year, he's cut after this year. There's no way he's going to year 3 of his contract. He got to step up. I'm just saying. Oh, I'm always going to highlight this comment. It says, you're looking lean, John. That's right, baby. Whoo! I'm down I think 28 pounds since the end, since Super Bowl. I'm trying to keep it down. We'll see how it goes. Drinking a lot less, working out a lot more. That's usually what does it. Now, blue on blue, best on best, Nick Bosa versus Tyron Smith. That's incredible. Now, Nick Bosa's had success against him in the past. But, he's healthy. Start of the season, Tyron Smith, that's going to be a fun matchup. I'm excited about that. Now let's flip the script. Let's look at the 49ers offense versus the Jets defense. Them, Quinnen Williams versus Brindle. I'm not worried about Quinnen Williams versus the rookie. Yeah, he might beat him a couple times. He's that dang good. But Quinnen Williams versus Brindle, that strong power versus a guy that can't anchor. That's my concern. Quinnen Williams lining up in that 3 technique, outside shade of the guard, stunting through the A-gap, terrifies me. That is, it's rough. Steve-O, real quick, he goes, can Bosa get off a chip block? The wide 9's hard because you're getting hit from the outside and then the guy set up. That's difficult. And whenever you're a team like the Jets that are a precision, quick, timing-paced offense, it's catch, 1, 2, throw, right? That's the whole design. I wish the 49ers chipped twice as much as we do on offense. But yeah, that chip, that's what, if I was playing the Niners, I'd do it every single play. And if I was the Niners coach on offense, I would be chipping every single play. Even whenever I played against non-great defensive ends, I just don't know why teams don't do it every time. I digress. Now, our favorite matchup, George Kittle or Christian McCaffrey gets those safeties in the passing game. Oh, isolate. Come out in, 21 personnel with Kyle Juszczyk and, Christian McCaffrey and Kittle. Motion out to your empty sets. Oh, that's what I want to see. I want Kittle and CMC against safeties in the passing game. And then you've got to force, you've got to force those matchups. Shanahan, I guarantee you, he's got like 7 or 8 plays where he's like, okay, how do I do with all my motions? How do I get the safety on Kittle? How do I get the safety on CMC? And we're going to see it. All those double motions across and empty sets. Shanahan going to be cooking. And anytime Shanahan goes against one of his disciples, he shows them who's the boss. I expect that. Now, Jeff Ulbrich is not Shanahan. He's never coached under him, but Salah has. I'm telling you. And I'll tell you this too. I know Shanahan, he's probably more excited to show that he's a better play caller than Nathaniel Hackett than he is in showing up Robert Salah. I don't think Salah, does that make sense? Like, he wants to show, like, look, this is how you call plays. You know what I'm talking about? And so Hackett, I think, is the worst play caller in the NFL. I do believe that. And Shanahan, I don't care if you hate Shanahan. He's the top 3 play caller. Like, nobody disagrees with that. Like, worst case scenario, you might have him 4, even if you hate him. Yeah, right here, Debster. Daddy Shanahan. I love it. That's awesome. So, blue chip, Ayuk versus Sauce. Now, it stinks that Ayuk hasn't been practicing that much, or Christian McCaffrey versus those linebackers, Quincy Williams or CJ Mosley. Like, those some heavyweight bouts right there, man. And I want to see Ayuk versus Sauce. I really, really do. That's going to be fun. Cover 1, Ayuk versus Sauce. Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. Filthy Casual says, Andy Reid disagrees. I don't think so. I guarantee you Andy Reid considers Shanahan a top 3 offensive guy. I guarantee he does. Now, if you have Andy Reid ahead of Kyle Shanahan, that's cool. But I said top 3 or 4. Like, that's 1. All right, cool. Now you're at 2. You want to put McVay there? Cool. Ben Johnson 3, maybe? Nah, I ain't doing that. But he's up there. Like, it don't matter. Anyway, now, let's do this. It is betting time, baby. I can't wait. This is going to be a fun season. I hope y'all bet with us. We are back, baby. Year 6 with my bookie. I love these guys. There's being a fan and enjoying your team playing, but whenever you're invested in it and you've got money on the line, it's so much more enjoyable. The highs are higher. Sometimes the lows are lower, but it's totally worth it. Trust me. And once you start, it's kind of hard to stop, but just always manage your own bets. Make sure you don't go too far with anything and consider this entertainment. But we're going to guide your hand. We help you here at the 49ers Rush. We post all of our bets and what we do every single week with the Niners over on our Patreon and the 49ersrush.com. We got you. And my favorite thing about my bookie, there's several. Easy to get money in and out. Don't have to download an app. Whatever it is you want to bet, this player, that many carries, under carries, spread, parlays, all that stuff, it's easy. All you got to do is go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 49ERS, or just use this QR code next to me if you're watching. Use promo code 49ers, and guess what? You get a $1,000 bonus all the way up to that on your first deposit. It's incredible. All you got to do is use 49ERS. It helps the show, and trust me, you're going to have a good time. And with college football season, you can bet on that if you want to. Last year, they had some of the best odds for Michigan to win the national championship. 10 times return if you bet Michigan to win the national championship before the season started. They've got all that stuff set up there again for college football, NFL, you name it. Never miss out on the action again. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime, only with MyBookie. All right, so a couple just bets. And again, we post all these at the 49ersrush.com and our Patreon channel. Those will be posted later today, early tomorrow. One of those 2 options. My favorite non-49ers bet, I got a 3-team teaser for Sunday to make Sunday way more interesting. It's a plus team teaser. And if you don't know how to do this, again, I post the video on how to do, click here, all that stuff to show you. Just betting $10. You win 8 if these 3 things happen, but you get 10 points added to the spread. Dolphins plus 6.5 points over the Jags. You get the Raiders plus 13 points over the Chargers. And I got the Bills plus 3.5 versus the Cardinals. Those teaser bets just make things fun. They're a lot of fun. Now, the 49ers are 4.5 point favorites. I think it should be 6.5. I really, really do. The over-under is 43.5. I'm not touching the over-under. 2 good defenses. My projection has the 49ers winning, covering the spread, but not posting 43.5 points. Now, a healthy CMC, Mike Williams, how much is he playing? All that stuff kind of affects that, but I'm not touching it. I'm betting a big George Kittle game, guys. I'm just telling you right now. His over-under on receptions, 3.5. I'm posting the over. His reception yards is 42.5. I'm posting the over. We know Kittle can do that with 1 catch, but usually, I've been doing this a long time, the Kittle over-under on receptions 4.5, and that's where it will be next week, I do believe. So I think that this is going to be a heavy Kittle game. If you are a CMC believer and you're like, oh, man, let's get CMC out there. He's over-under 16.5 carries. So if you think CMC is getting a full workload and the biggest weakness of the Jets defense is the run game, then you cover the over there. I'm not betting that yet until he gets a full practice, and I'm staying away from that. And, Brock Purdy averages 2 touchdowns a game. His over-under is 1.5 touchdowns. So, again, I'll be posting all my bets later. But here's how I think this game's going to go. It's not going to be, a 30-point 49ers game. Their defense is really good. Their defense is really consistent. And the question marks of, look, Trent Williams not being at practice, Ayuk not being at practice, CMC kind of whatever. There's going to be some rough series. I expect a couple 3-and-outs, which I don't want. But I do have the 49ers winning and covering. And I do think whether it's CMC or Mason, there's going to be solid rush attempts. Like, I expect us to get to 27 rush attempts. I want it to be more, but I think 27 rush attempts, that's my key stat of the week. If the 49ers hit 27, they win this game. If the 49ers don't get that number, I'm going to be a little concerned. I do not think, Rob Johnson, that Hassan Riddick's going to play. They're not even talking still. The Jets told him, show up and we'll talk. He said, pay me and we'll talk. So I don't see that. I just don't see it. So I just don't know how many carries for Mason, Kyle. Here's what I'll say, and I don't even like this because Kyle cheats on his freaking reports, his practice reports. If CMC is limited again, I'm going to put the over-under at 5.5 carries for Jordan Mason. If CMC is fully active, then I'm going to put the over-under at 2.5 carries for Jordan Mason. You see the difference? That's 3 to 4 carries. So do with that what you will. I don't trust. I've said this for years. I trust the 49ers on a lot of things. Never once have I trusted them with anything about injuries. Kyle will take any advantage he can. And to say that CMC is injured when he's not is 1,000% a Kyle Shanahan thing. Like, right, if Kyle Shanahan had a pull string doll, right? Like, what would he say? Like, you'd pull it and be like, but he's limited, maybe active. We'll see. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just what he does. That was a terrible Shanahan impersonation. I apologize. But hopefully that's like what comes across. I got the 49ers winning 24-18. That's where we are now. We'll see. Niners Nation says Reddick is reporting to the facility, as of this morning, but not to be active for Monday Night Football. I haven't seen that reported out there, but I believe Niners Nation. Diane Rossini's been on top of this from the jump, and she expects it. Super long shot. I just don't think it. So anyway, you guys are the absolute best. I'll try to get a show going tomorrow. But with it being a, Sunday, I want everybody just to enjoy all that stuff. You guys are the best. You got any questions, as always, hit me up. 49ers Rush Podcast at gmail.com. And again, if you want to take part in our entries to give away 2 tickets to see the 49ers at Rams Week 3, SoFi Stadium down in Los Angeles, Levi South. Again, all proceeds of this, every penny that's brought in goes to my buddy Gabe, his 2-year-old son diagnosed with leukemia. Go to the 49ersrush.com/Rams. 1 entry for $20 or 3 entries for $50. You get 2 tickets, 200 level, great tickets, and a pink tailgate parking pass. The only place that you can tailgate and cook and hang out and stuff at all of SoFi parking. So the 49ersrush.com Rams, or just description of this video, it's at the top. Support a good cause, win some tickets, go have a good time. You guys are awesome. Look at Paul. My Saturday was better for spending it with you guys. It means the world to me, my friend. You are the best of the best, and so are all you guys. For everybody, I love y'all. You are the best. Enjoy some college football, and until next time, stay strong, faithful. I want to say thanks for supporting today's show, and to take us out, we're going to go to a new song from Keyman. You know what it is.
Your quest don't stop. 49 faithful when the rest gon' fly. Riding for the team that we love on God. We gon' lift them up till they up on time. Till they up on time. Your quest don't stop. 49 faithful when the rest gon' fly. Riding for the team that we love on God. We gon' lift them up till they up on time. Till they up on time. Yeah, we been running plays since 46. Keys on to the stick, we been in the mix. Take it to the zone, we been striking gold. That 49 away winning Super Bowls. So many legends, check the Hall of Fame.